Sometimes the most powerful moments of our lives are born in the places we fear the most, the struggles we didn't choose, the battles we didn't expect, and the seasons that pushed us to our limits. Yet within every hardship, there is a hidden message, a quiet invitation from God calling us to rise higher, grow deeper, and discover the strength we never knew we had. Today, I want to take you on a journey through the very heart of struggle. Not to remind you of your pain, but to reveal the power inside you that pain often unlocks. In this message, inspired by the timeless lessons of Dr. Yonggi Cho, we are going to uncover how struggle can shape your spirit, define your character, sharpen your vision, strengthen your faith, and turn your life into a testimony that inspires others. This is not just another motivational talk. This is a spiritual awakening, a reminder that your trials are not signs of defeat. They are signs that something powerful is being built inside you. So if you have ever felt overwhelmed, if you have ever questioned your purpose, if you have ever wondered why your journey has been so hard, stay with me. Because the answers you've been searching for may be hidden in the very struggle you've been trying to escape. And once you see the truth behind your pain, you will never look at your challenges the same way again. Let's begin this journey together. Your breakthrough might start right now. Struggle builds spiritual strength because it forces the heart to reach beyond its own abilities and depend on something deeper, higher, and more powerful than human will alone. When life becomes difficult, the inner world is pushed into a place where ordinary comfort and routine no longer feel enough. In these moments, the soul begins searching for stability, and this search becomes the beginning of spiritual growth. Struggle removes the illusion of complete self-sufficiency and invites a person to discover the strength that lies in faith, perseverance, and connection with God. Without pressure, the human spirit remains untested. Without adversity, one never learns the true capacity within. Struggle teaches reliance. When a person faces challenges they cannot easily overcome, they learn that prayer, reflection, and spiritual discipline provide real strength. Dr. Yonggi Cho often spoke about how prayer became the anchor in seasons of suffering, and this principle applies to anyone facing hardship. In times of struggle, people pray more earnestly, think more deeply, and seek meaning with greater intention. This honest and desperate reaching is what awakens spiritual muscles that remain weak when life is too easy. Faith becomes alive, not just a belief, but a force that gives courage when the mind is overwhelmed. Spiritual strength grows through resistance. Just like physical muscles grow when pushed against weight, the spirit grows when pushed against difficulty. Every challenge becomes a form of resistance, training for the soul. Pain forces growth, confusion forces reflection, uncertainty forces trust. The struggle itself becomes the tool that shapes a stronger, more resilient inner life. Without struggle, faith is like an unused muscle, present but not developed. We struggle, faith becomes firm, grounded, and powerful, able to withstand future storms. Struggle exposes limitations in order to expand them. When life is simple, people never discover how deep their endurance can go. But when obstacles appear and comfort disappears, the true depth of one's spirit becomes visible. Many people only discover their real strength at the edge of exhaustion, where they feel unable to continue. Yet this edge is where they find that the spirit holds more capacity than the mind believed. Through hardship, patience stretches, perseverance grows, and courage rises from places that previously felt unreachable. The soul learns it can endure more than expected, and this knowledge becomes a foundation for future confidence. Struggle purifies motives. In easy times, people often chase comfort, recognition, or convenience without realizing it. But when hardship enters, these weaker motives fall away. What remains is the essence of the heart, its true desires, values, and commitments. Struggle reveals what matters and what does not. It forces the spirit to return to the core of meaning. This purification strengthens integrity and sincerity, qualities that deepen spiritual maturity. When a person endures hardship while maintaining faith and goodness, the spiritual foundation becomes clearer, cleaner, and stronger. Struggle breaks pride gently but powerfully. Pride convinces people they can do everything alone, that their skills, intelligence, or strength are enough. But hardship humbles the mind, reminding it that control is limited. This humility is not weakness but wisdom. A humble spirit is open to learning, open to guidance, open to grace. When pride breaks, space is created for deeper spiritual understanding. This humility becomes a strength because it brings clarity, gratitude, and sensitivity to the presence of God. A person who has walked through struggle learns to listen, to receive, to surrender, and to trust. Struggle nurtures compassion. A person who has suffered becomes more sensitive to the pain of others. Hardship softens the heart and teaches empathy. Those who were once quick to judge become more patient. Those who were once indifferent become more caring. Compassion is a sign of a strong spirit, not a weak one. It reflects wisdom gained from personal battles. When someone grows spiritually through struggle, they carry a deeper kindness because they understand how heavy the human burden can be. This compassion enriches relationships and strengthens communities. Struggle deepens gratitude. When life is smooth, blessings feel ordinary and go unnoticed, but hardship reveals how precious peace, support, and small joys truly are. A person who has walked through difficulty sees beauty in everyday moments. They find gratitude for simple things, for breath, for hope, for progress, for the presence of others. This gratitude becomes a powerful spiritual force that transforms their outlook on life. It turns ordinary experiences into moments of meaning and appreciation. Struggle strengthens resilience. Spiritual resilience is the ability to stand back up after falling, to continue moving forward when the path is painful. Each challenge conquered becomes a testimony inside the heart. When a person survives one hardship, they carry the memory of that victory into future battles. They remind themselves, I made it through that. I can make it through this. This resilience does not remove pain, but gives the spirit the boldness to face it without fear. It becomes a shield of internal confidence, built through the fires of past struggles. Struggle creates an unshakable connection to purpose. Many people discover their calling not in comfort, but in crisis. Hardship pushes them to ask meaningful questions. Why am I here? What am I meant to learn? What can I contribute? These questions form the roots of purpose. As struggle strips away distractions, purpose becomes clear. And once purpose becomes clear, the spirit becomes strong, driven, and focused. Struggle becomes the teacher that reveals direction. Struggle deepens the relationship with God. In quiet seasons, faith may remain intellectual, but in painful seasons, it becomes personal. People cry out, seek guidance, and experience God in ways they never did before. These encounters transform their spiritual lives. They begin to see that God is not distant but present, not passive but involved, not silent but whispering strength. This connection becomes a well of peace and courage that hardship cannot break. In the end, struggle is not meant to destroy but to build. It is the pressure that shapes the soul, the fire that refines character, the weight that develops spiritual endurance. Through struggle, people discover the depth of their faith, the strength of their spirit, and the presence of God in ways they would never have known in comfort. Struggle becomes a path to spiritual maturity, inner resilience, and a life grounded in purpose and strength. Character is shaped in the hidden places of difficulty. where comfort fades and the true nature of a person is revealed layer by layer. When someone faces adversity, they encounter themselves in a raw and honest way, without the masks that easy living allows. Hardship presses against the heart and exposes impatience, fear, pride, or doubt, not to shame a person, but to refine them. In this refining process, weakness becomes the soil where strength grows. Through struggle, character does not merely change. It deepens, stabilizes, and becomes anchored in values that last. Challenges teach patience, one of the strongest pillars of character. When life forces someone to wait, endure, and keep moving forward, even when results are slow, the heart learns discipline. Patience is not passive submission. It is the powerful decision to stay steady when life is stormy. Every moment of delay becomes an exercise in self-control, and every frustration becomes a lesson in emotional maturity. A person who becomes patient through suffering develops a calm inner strength that influences decisions, relationships, and mindset. Hardship also strengthens resilience. When a person continues to rise after setbacks, the ability to bounce back becomes part of their identity. Each time they face difficulty and refuse to give up, resilience becomes woven into their character. This resilience is not a loud or aggressive force. It is a quiet determination that says, I will not be broken. Over time, resilience forms a foundation that future challenges cannot easily shake. It becomes the inner armor that protects a person from hopelessness. Adversity cultivates humility. In moments when life becomes overwhelming, human limitations are exposed and pride loses its grip. Humility grows when someone realizes they do not have all the answers and cannot control everything. This humility does not weaken the person. It strengthens them by providing clarity, perspective, and the ability to learn. A humble heart listens more, grows faster, and becomes wiser. Through hardship, humility shapes character into something grounded and unpretentious. Struggle also reveals integrity. A person's true values appear when they are under pressure. Comfort may allow compromise, but difficulty tests conviction. When someone chooses honesty, kindness, or fairness, even while suffering, their integrity becomes stronger than circumstances. These moments build a reputation not only to others, but within the person's own conscience. They look back and recognize that they stayed true to themselves even when life tested their limits. That self-respect becomes a lasting strength. Challenges develop empathy. A person who has walked through pain understands the pain of others more deeply. They become gentler, more compassionate, more willing to help, and less quick to judge. Empathy born from suffering carries a sincerity that cannot be faked. It shapes character into something warm, approachable, and wise. People who have endured hardship often become the most comforting presence in the lives of others because their understanding comes from experience, not theory. Difficulty also trains discipline. When life forces a person to keep going despite emotional or physical discomfort, it creates habits of endurance. Discipline formed in adversity becomes the strength that drives future achievements. Whether it is the discipline to continue working, praying, learning, or improving, hardship reinforces consistency. This consistency becomes a core part of character, teaching the person that dedication is more powerful than momentary emotion. Hardship teaches gratitude. In the midst of suffering, small blessings become valuable again. Moments of peace, acts of kindness, opportunities, health, and relationships gain new meaning. Gratitude softens the heart and shifts the mindset from entitlement to appreciation. This perspective becomes part of a person's character and influences the way they speak, act, and relate to others. A grateful person radiates positivity and lifts the environment around them. Struggle develops courage. When someone faces fear, uncertainty, or threats, and chooses to take even a small step forward, courage takes root. Courage does not eliminate fear. It transforms it into action. Over time, this courage shapes a stronger identity, one that does not run from challenges but confronts them with determination. Courage shaped through adversity becomes a lifelong asset, influencing decisions and inspiring others. Through all these layers, difficulty becomes a sculptor. It chisels away immaturity, strengthens the core of the person, and reveals qualities that would remain hidden without pressure. The person who emerges from hardship is not the same as the one who entered it. They are stronger, wiser, steadier, and more aware of who they are. Struggle does not destroy character. It shapes it into something unshakable, meaningful, and powerful. Faith is proven in times of trial because difficulty strips away everything superficial and leaves only what is genuine. When life is comfortable, belief can remain untested, quiet, or theoretical. But when hardship arrives, faith becomes either real or revealed as fragile. In the midst of pressure, fear, and uncertainty, a person must decide what they truly trust. Trial becomes the fire that exposes the strength, depth, and sincerity of faith. It is in these moments that inner conviction is either strengthened or abandoned, and through this decision, faith becomes authentic. When trials hit unexpectedly, a person feels shaken, but this shaking forces them to confront what they anchor their life upon. If their strength is rooted in circumstances, they collapse quickly. If it is rooted in faith, they find stability even when the external world feels unstable. Faith in trial is not blind optimism. It is a deliberate stance of trust, despite the evidence of difficulty. Every moment of choosing trust over fear shapes the soul and proves the reality of belief. Trials force the heart to seek answers beyond human understanding. When situations feel impossible and logic cannot fix the problem, faith becomes the source of hope. In moments like this, a person learns that faith is not merely a comfort, it is a lifeline. They pray more deeply, think more honestly, and search more earnestly. The pressure of trial pushes them into spiritual depth they might never have explored otherwise. Through this journey, they discover that faith has strength beyond emotion, strength that holds them together when everything else is falling apart. In times of trial, faith teaches perseverance. When obstacles rise and progress slows, many people feel tempted to surrender, but faith keeps them moving, reminding them that hardship is temporary and meaning exists even in the struggle. Persevering through pain becomes an act of faith, a declaration that circumstances do not define destiny. Each step taken in difficulty becomes evidence of inner strength. This perseverance becomes a testimony not only to others, but to oneself, proving that faith can carry a person through seasons they once believed would destroy them. Trials expose fear, but faith confronts it. Fear whispers that failure is inevitable, that pain is permanent, that hope is foolish. Faith responds with quiet courage, reminding the heart that storms pass, wounds heal, and darkness eventually breaks into light. This confrontation between fear and faith forms a powerful inner transformation. Each time faith pushes back against fear, the person becomes braver, stronger, and more grounded. The trial becomes a battlefield where courage is born. Hardship also deepens trust. Anyone can trust when life is smooth, but trust formed in difficulty becomes unshakable. When someone experiences moments where they feel guided, strengthened, or comforted during a trial, that experience becomes a foundation of trust for the future. They remember the times when they were sustained, and this memory becomes evidence that carries them through new challenges. Trust shaped through trial becomes a permanent part of identity. During trials, faith brings clarity. When life is shaken, priorities shift. Things once considered important fade, and deeper values rise to the surface. Faith helps a person discern what truly matters: love, purpose, character, hope. This clarity simplifies life and strengthens conviction. The noise of the world grows quiet, and the voice of purpose becomes clearer. This clarity, shaped in trial, remains long after the hardship passes. Trials also build gratitude. Pain has a way of making blessings visible again. The smallest moments, comfort, progress, support, peace, become meaningful. Faith teaches the heart to see goodness even in difficulty. This gratitude does not ignore pain, it rises above it. A grateful perspective shaped in trial becomes a powerful force that transforms the way a person sees the world. Hardship reveals the endurance of faith. When someone holds on even when their strength feels gone, when they pray even when answers seem delayed, when they keep believing even when doubt whispers loudly, that endurance becomes proof of the depth of their faith. This endurance becomes a source of inspiration to others, showing that faith is not fragile but resilient. Ultimately, trials turn faith from words into experience. They take belief from the mind and carve it into the heart. A person who has walked through hardship with faith emerges transformed. They become steadier, wiser, and more confident in the strength that carried them. Faith proven in trial becomes a lifelong foundation, a quiet but powerful assurance that no storm is greater than the spirit strengthened through struggle. Adversity sharpens vision because it pushes a person beyond ordinary thinking and forces them to see life with greater clarity, depth, and purpose. When everything is easy, the mind becomes comfortable, distracted, and unfocused. Goals feel distant, dreams seem optional, and routine becomes a substitute for progress. But when hardship arrives, the comfort that once clouded perspective disappears. Struggle awakens the inner world and demands that a person look at life with new seriousness. The pressure of difficulty becomes a lens that reveals what truly matters, clearing away confusion and sharpening direction. Many people discover their greatest ideas in seasons of trouble, not comfort. Adversity creates an environment where the heart searches for meaning and the mind becomes alert. In this alertness, new visions emerge. Visions that might never appear when life is simple. Hardship forces reflection, evaluation, and rethinking. It makes a person question where they are going, why they are pursuing certain paths, and what needs to change. These questions become the seeds of vision, seeds watered by struggle and nurtured by determination. When adversity strikes, distractions lose their power. The noise of the world becomes quieter because survival, purpose, and faith rise to the surface. A person begins to see their true calling more clearly. The things that once felt important suddenly appear small, and the things that once felt far away suddenly feel urgent. This shift in perspective sharpens focus. It turns vague dreams into concrete goals and transforms uncertainty into determination. Adversity forces the mind to lock on to what is essential. Struggle also stretches imagination. When a person faces obstacles, they must think creatively to overcome them. This creativity becomes a pathway to new possibilities. Instead of seeing only problems, they begin to see solutions, opportunities, and unexplored paths. This ability to imagine beyond the present difficulty becomes part of their vision. Adversity teaches that limitations can inspire innovation, and that challenges can open doors that comfort keeps closed. Hardship strengthens purpose. When life is smooth, purpose feels optional. But when pain enters, purpose becomes a lifeline. A person begins to ask deeper questions. What am I meant to do? What impact do I want to leave? What future do I want to create? These questions ignite a fire inside, and this fire becomes the foundation of vision. Purpose gives vision energy, direction, and meaning. Adversity clarifies that drifting is not enough. One must live with intention. Through adversity, a person learns the difference between wishful thinking and true vision. Wishful thinking is fragile. It disappears when life becomes hard. True vision grows stronger in difficulty. It becomes a force that pushes a person forward when their emotions want to stop. This kind of vision is not based on convenience, but on conviction. It survives setbacks, disappointment, and fear. It becomes a guiding light in dark seasons, reminding the person that the struggle itself is shaping the path ahead. Adversity also teaches patience, a vital companion of vision. When dreams take longer than expected, hardship trains the heart to wait without giving up. Patience developed in struggle prevents a person from abandoning their vision too quickly. Instead of rushing, they learn to build steadily. Instead of seeking shortcuts, they embrace growth. This patience strengthens the vision because it allows it to develop with maturity and depth. When a person perseveres through adversity, their vision gains credibility. They trust it more because it has survived hardship. They rely on it more because it has carried them through uncertainty. Others begin to believe in it because they see the resilience it produces. Vision proven in adversity becomes not just a dream, but a mission, something lived, tested, and strengthened through real experience. Struggle encourages alignment. A person begins to surround themselves with people, habits, and environments that support their vision. They let go of whatever weakens them, distracts them, or pulls them away from purpose. Adversity teaches the value of focus and the necessity of boundaries. Through struggle, the person becomes more intentional with their time, energy, and relationships. This alignment creates momentum, pushing the vision forward with greater strength. Ultimately, adversity sharpens vision by clearing the mind, strengthening purpose, awakening creativity, deepening patience, and building conviction. When someone emerges from hardship with a clearer sense of who they are and what they must do, their vision becomes powerful. It becomes a compass that guides decisions and a force that shapes destiny. Adversity does not block vision. It refines it, strengthens it, and brings it into focus so that the person can walk with clarity and confidence into the future they were meant to build. Overcoming struggles inspires others because the human heart is naturally moved by the sight of resilience, courage, and transformation. When a person rises above hardship, their life becomes more than a personal victory. It becomes a living message of hope. People do not simply admire strength, they draw strength from it. Seeing someone push through pain, doubt, and obstacles shows others that survival is possible, growth is possible, and change is possible. A story of endurance becomes a mirror in which others see their own potential reflected back at them. When someone overcomes a struggle, their presence carries a quiet authority. They speak from experience, not theory. Their words carry weight because they know what it feels like to be broken, discouraged, and uncertain, and yet they chose to move forward. This authenticity resonates deeply with others. People trust voices shaped by hardship because those voices understand suffering and still choose hope. This authenticity creates a powerful connection that encourages others to believe in their own ability to rise. Rising through adversity shows others that pain does not have the final word. When someone emerges from darkness with strength, it breaks the illusion that suffering is a permanent prison. Others watching feel a spark of possibility ignite inside them. They begin to see that hardship can be a chapter, not the whole story. This shift in perspective can change the trajectory of another person's life. Someone's victory becomes a reason for another person to keep fighting. Overcoming struggle also demonstrates that ordinary people can achieve extraordinary resilience. Many individuals believe they are too weak, too wounded, or too flawed to overcome their own challenges. But when they witness someone else, someone just as human, rising from difficulty, it breaks the lie of impossibility. It shows them that strength is not reserved for the chosen few. It is built through every small step taken in the midst of pain. This realization can awaken courage in people who once felt hopeless. A person who has endured hardship often carries compassion, and this compassion itself inspires. They understand suffering not from distance but from experience, and this understanding makes them more patient, more gentle, and more encouraging. When they help others, it is not out of obligation, but out of genuine empathy. This compassionate presence becomes a source of comfort and strength for those still struggling. People feel safe, understood, and valued, and this inspires them to continue their own journey with renewed hope. Overcoming struggle creates a story worth telling. Stories of triumph are powerful because they offer steps, insights, and encouragement that others can follow. A story becomes a guidebook, showing that pain can shape purpose, failure can produce wisdom, and obstacles can develop character. When shared, these stories travel far beyond the person who lived them. They reach hearts across families, communities, and even generations. A single story of survival can influence countless lives. When someone rises above difficulty, their courage becomes contagious. Courage is not something people simply admire, it is something they absorb. Seeing someone face fear inspires others to confront their own. Witnessing someone persevere encourages others to keep going. Courage multiplies through example. A person who has endured hardship becomes a lighthouse for those lost in their own storms, illuminating the path forward through their own actions. Overcoming struggles inspires others because it shows the beauty of transformation. People are moved not only by survival but by growth. When someone becomes wiser, kinder, stronger, or more grounded because of what they went through, it shows that suffering can produce something meaningful. This idea gives hope to those who feel their pain has no purpose. Transformation tells them that their struggle may shape them into someone they never thought they could become. Victory over hardship also reinforces the truth that resilience is learned, not inherited. Many people believe they are not strong enough, but when they see someone who was once broken rise again, they realize that strength can be built. This understanding inspires action, effort, and perseverance. It pushes people to stretch beyond their limits and discover their own inner power. Ultimately, overcoming struggle inspires others because it reveals the incredible capacity of the human spirit. It shows that pain can be endured, hope can survive, and life can be rebuilt. When someone rises after falling, their story becomes a beacon of possibility, reminding the world that every person carries the potential to overcome. Their journey becomes a gift to others, proving that resilience is real, growth is possible, and no struggle has to define the end of the story. As we come to the end of this message, remember this one truth: your struggle is not a sign of weakness. It is the birthplace of your strength, your character, your faith, your vision, and your testimony. Every hardship you faced has been shaping you, stretching you, and preparing you for the future you were created to walk into. Nothing you've gone through is wasted. Not a single tear, not a single setback, not a single night of doubt. All of it has been molding a deeper version of you. One who is wiser, braver, stronger, and more connected to God than ever before. Just as Dr. David Yonggi Cho taught through his life and ministry, adversity is not the end. It is the beginning of transformation. When you rise from your struggle, you don't rise alone. You rise as an example. You rise as a light. You rise as a reminder to others that God can turn any pain into purpose, any challenge into growth, and any battle into victory. So whatever you are facing today, hold on. You are in the process of becoming. Your story is still being written, and the chapter ahead of you will make everything you've endured worthwhile. Keep your faith strong, keep your heart open, and keep moving forward, because your breakthrough is closer than you think. Thank you so much for watching, for listening, and for sharing your time and heart with this message. If this touched your spirit, inspired your journey, or strengthened your faith, make sure to stay connected. Your presence here means more than you know, and I pray that you continue to walk in strength, purpose, and divine guidance. Thank you, and may God bless you abundantly.